Hey everyone, Sarah Steeman here, PPC coach, consultant, and president of the Paid Search Association. Just to declare my authority here so you know that I'm not just telling you whatever comes to mind, but something from a deep place of experience, knowledge, and industry relevance. Today, I want to talk about something that has been really killing profitability for a lot of the brands that I consult to. And I see it happening across every single industry. And honestly, most people don't even realize that it's happening, but I think it's something that you want to consider, especially as a business owner, as a leader who's working in paid search, who's working in advertising. Today, we're going to be talking about the death of the discount and why a value first approach to your paid search strategy is actually one of the greatest ways to scale in 2026. I think a lot of this comes from the fact that we all know where to buy cheap things. Go to Amazon, go to Temu, go to Shein. We get it. But customers right now, they're craving more. And so this is how you're going to scale without burning your margins to the ground. And it's something that I want you to think about as you listen to this video. So if you're someone who's been feeling like ROAS looks fine on paper, but maybe your bank account and your actual sales data is telling a different story, then this is an episode for you. And I think we're going to hit home with it. So let's get into it. So obviously with Google Ads, the price and the expense keeps going up and up and up. It's one of my most popular episodes, and I think we all know that it's happening. It's really what I'm going to call the margin crisis of 2026. And really, when we think about for the last decade in Google Ads and PPC in general, right, the way we advertised, this playbook was super simple. It was go ahead and put an ad out there, run a sale, get the click, win the conversion, and repeat, right? Like if you had a sale, you knew that everything was going to perform wonderfully. But here's something that I don't think anyone wants to say out loud. Just throwing sales and the discount flywheel, that's dying. I think people are really sick of it because they're bombarded with so much advertising. And so when it comes to all of this, we also have the fact that customer acquisition costs are up. Margins are down. We can't afford to constantly be putting our items on sale. And again, people know where to get cheap. I don't think cheap is moving people out of their seats anymore. And so the race to the bottom has really become a race to bankruptcy for a lot of the brands that I work with. And I'm seeing this actually in data. So what I'm seeing inside of my clients' accounts is that the modern buyer is no longer chasing the lowest price. They're chasing trust. And I think we've heard it time and time again. We're in a trust deficit, and we are also in what I would call a trust economy. People need to be able to make sure that they trust their brands, that they trust the human beings they're taking information from before they move forward. We're so sick of the general just crap that's being spewed on the internet. And so when you think about a brand and when you think about like where the human and what they want, the humans are chasing alignment. They're chasing values. And if your ads are still screaming, 20% off, 30% off, you're not just losing money on your ads, you're missing the entire segment of the market that actually sticks around and becomes loyal to your brand. So what I'm going to present to you right here is the 75% rule, what consumers actually care about. So we're going to talk about the numbers because this is where everything starts to shift for you. There was a massive meta-analysis done by Bridge Tower Media, and I sourced it. Actually, I'll link in the original blog post where I have tables and I go over the actual numbers that I found in my research. And what they were saying in their research is 75% of consumers will pay more for locally made products. I think that's huge. 82% care about sustainability, and then 87% of millennials say that local matters. You also see this drastic change with Gen X, where 99% say local matters. And then to make this even deeper, 45% of shoppers prefer to buy online and pick up in the store. So these aren't nice to have preferences. These are buyer signals, and they're absolutely gold if you want to make the case to change and shift this within your marketing. So here's the part that I really want you to hear as a marketer, as a business owner, as someone who's running paid ads. Your ad creative is now your targeting. And we say that all the time in Google Ads, but I don't think people really understand the depth of how the creative is your targeting and how to marry that with the data that I just talked about in this video. If your ad says hand poured in Ohio, the algorithm finds people who care about that exact thing. If your ad says 10% off, 25% off, the algorithm, guess what? It's going to find more bargain hunters. And bargain hunters are really, at this point, the least loyal segment to the entire ecosystem. I mean, think about it. Like I just said, I can go to Amazon, Temu, Shein. I don't care as long as I'm getting cheap when I want cheap. We all know where to find that. The market is flooded with cheap. And so really for you as the advertiser, you need to be feeding the machine, feeding the algorithm creative as the new keyword. Think about what you're saying in the messaging and who you want to resonate with. And think about that instead of just keyword, keyword, keyword. Think about what you're saying in your copy, what you're saying in your image, what the vibe is of your image. People ask me all the time, Sarah, if everything is automated now, what is left for me to control? And my answer is always the same. You control the signals, you control the inputs. You are the signal architect as someone running their own ads, as somebody managing ads. You are the one in charge. Google and Meta, they're not matching keywords. Well, Meta audiences, right? But the platforms aren't matching what they used to be matching. They're matching predictions at this point. They're looking at predicting who is likely to behave in a certain way, who is likely to buy, what kind of buyer they are. They're looking at the user behind that. So if you're creative, it's not speaking to the right person, the right user, and your creative signals cheap, the machine is going to find more cheap for you. And these cheap seeking users, again, I said it, they're not long-term growth for you. And so if your creative signals are quality, local, sustainable, crafted with intention, the machine is going to find buyers who value those things. And frankly, this is why a lot of, when you think about a bidding algorithm, why a value-based bidding algorithm works so well. E-com naturally does this, but really what you're doing is you're feeding back the right signals. These are the valued transactions. This is what is higher value to us. You're telling the machine, here is the price. So just think about that when you think about how to layer on bidding and creative and imagery and everything to reach that ideal customer. So now you're saying to the algorithm, go find me the 75% of customers who are willing to spend the most value and who are willing to pay more, not the 25% who only buy on sale. So let's get into this in terms of generational landscape and where you're headed. Where your buyers actually are. So we're going to zoom out for a second. We're going to talk about generational behavior because this is where brands tend to leave money on the table, especially in 2026. Recent data shows 89% of Gen Z is on Instagram and 59% is on TikTok. With millennials, 86% are on Instagram and 83% are on Facebook. X, 92% follow stores on Facebook. And then boomers, 50% prefer email subscriptions. This is what it means for your PPC strategy. Gen X is a Facebook goldmine. They're still there. They're still on the platform. If you're ignoring Facebook Meta because you think it's outdated, you're missing some of the highest AOV generation. And again, this is a great way to build demand on that side. Gen Z, they love email more than you actually think. 43% prefer email subscriptions over X, LinkedIn, or Snapchat. I think that should surprise a lot of people, but it is a very important data point. And this one is huge. 40% of Gen Z say that they are motivated to shop at local stores that offer fun in-store events. So if you're a local store and you're doing things and you're embracing that community, I think that is something that the generation craves at this point. It is a massive opportunity for businesses to use PPC to promote these experiences and not necessarily just the discount. So another rule for you that I think is going to really help you, and what I call is the 70-20 budgeting framework, because we all like frameworks. I always bring my clients when I'm coaching and consulting back to one simple structure. 70% of your money should be put into proven channels, things that you know that they're going to work. I'm thinking search, Emacs, Google, the really, really known platforms where you can anticipate what you're going to get. 20% I'd put into growth bets. I'd look at, again, Meta, if your audience is there, based on the data that I gave you, to generate that demand. YouTube, phenomenal for generating that demand. TikTok, other places like that. And then I would put 10% into pure experimentation. Just have fun with it. Try a new platform. This keeps your account stable while still giving you as an advertiser room to innovate. And here is the twist for 2026. Your experiment should be a value first experiment, not discount tests. Stop putting everything on sale. People are tired of it. The data proves it. The data I told you in this video proves it. Test new hooks like sustainability, craftsmanship, local origin, or even give back programs. And again, what I said earlier is programs if you have a physical store that are about community and events. These are the signals that attract the high value buyers that you want to see long term, that have better lifetime value. So, how do you apply this value first PPC today? If you're watching this video, you want to just go right away and change your ads because you're saying, Sarah, you validated what I know, and I know you're right. So, if you're still relying on discounts, you're probably seeing your ROAS looks fine, but your profits are slipping. Repeat buyers are rare, and Performance Max keeps chasing those low value segments. You'll actually see them in your data. If you look at Performance Max, you'll see discount buyers showing up as an audience segment. Look for that. And then what's happening is your customers are disappearing the moment the profit ends. They're not loyal. They're not engaging with your brand. This is a performance problem. It is not working for you, and it's showing that your signals are misaligned. So here's your value first creative checklist. This is what you can check. Does your ad communicate a value proposition and not just a price? Is it clear who your product is for? Right? So, like, I come at you and I say, I am for businesses, I am for marketing managers, I am for anyone who wants to hire someone for PPC. I am not for someone who just wants to be educated and or copy my content or sell me a thumbnail. I am not for those people. Do you highlight local, sustainable, or authentic attributes in your copy inside of your actual image? Is it giving the platform the right buyer signals? Does it gently repel bargain hunters? Not entirely, but that is not how you're positioning yourself. You're not positioning yourself as cheap because, yes, repelling the wrong audience is actually part of the strategy. So let's look at a before and after example. I'm going to show you the difference here. So here's an old discount ad. Save 20% on all candles this week only. Here is what a value first ad would look like. Hand poured in Ohio, clean ingredients for those who care about what fills their space. The second one only attracts people who care. It has that soft sell. The first one attracts those deal chasers. So things to consider. You want to really look at loyal, value assigned customers that align with your brand. The algorithm absolutely knows the difference. The algorithm is not stupid as much as we want to yell at it. So here are my closing thoughts for this video. These shifts might feel small. They might feel like something that couldn't possibly move the needle. But over time, what they do is they create a massive, massive long-term stability for your brand. When your creative aligns with the real buyer and the values that you want to go to, your aspirational customer, your entire account stabilizes and starts to shift over time. Your margins start to slowly improve, your repeat buyers increase, and your ads stop chasing the lowest value segments. This, I believe, is the future of PPC. I believe this is the future of advertisement. We can let the deal places become the deal places. People know where to get those already. And honestly, it's a better future for your brand and the clients that I work with and the clients that I coach on Google Ads. It rewards the brands that actually stand for something. If you want help becoming a true signal architect and making your ads campaign something that values your ideal customer, or you want me to take a diagnostic look at your account, you can always book a PPC audit or a coaching call for me. I really appreciate you watching. And if you found this helpful, hit subscribe so that I know that people are out there and so that you don't miss another episode. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Google Ads Strategy Hub, and I'll see you next time.